flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting of the Bartlett Jackson Transfer Station Committee. And I have the financial report. Checking account is $61,400. CD is $50,000.
Wonderful.
And some interest that's there, I don't know. That's a 90-day one at 4.5%. So, having said that, I guess the big subject of the meeting is the dump store. And it has been a source of an issue for a while, and I know Bob is here, and he'll talk about it for a minute, and but it's something that we need to address somehow. I'm not sure how. So Bob, why don't you just fill us in on the story a little bit?
I'd like to start off with what was, we had a vehicle come up this weekend. It had out-of-state plates, and they told us that they were from, and they did state the town that they were from, and they had a pickup truck full of stuff for the poor. And it was full, but it wasn't from Bartlett. You know, it was from another town. How do we stop that? You know, everybody says, you know, it's for the good, but they said it was too expensive for them to get rid of it at their hometown. So that was one of the things that we run into.
How did you handle that?
We're closed, we have nothing.
Okay.
So I actually sent in this, I said there's several thrift shops in town. And, you know, we look at clothing that comes in there, nobody ever takes the clothing. And I try to send them to the boxes down by Smithfield Plumbing. At least there's a chance for it to get used there. Or the way station, they've taken a lot of stuff and been grateful for it. So there are other options. I have some stuff that we've pulled out of there. I don't know if it's pertinent or not, but we've had everything from toilet seats used. Last 2 weeks ago, there were 3 toilets wrapped in blankets brought in there that we charge for. They were obviously used toilets. The soup, you saw the soup stuff. We get cases of old food. Personally, and not that I'm shopping in there, but we've kept them. I've gotten 2 spare guns and probably a half dozen BB guns, both pistol and guns, out of that store that really shouldn't be in there. There's just a lot of things that go in, and it never used to be like that.
Is there a sign in there that posts besides the thing that you have to pay for to dump, like electronics and things?
Yes, but
it doesn't matter.
To me, it seems like people don't want to let go of their stuff that's family or history or whatever, and it's kind of like leaving it on someone's doorstep and, oh, they'll have a good home if I leave it. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. And people get mad at us when we tell them, I'll say like headboards from a bed. People don't take them. You know, you wind up throwing them out the next day. And when you try to guide them to put it in the construction dumpster, it's an argument. And we just let it go. Go put it in the store.
I think part of the problem is not to be accused of always looking at the bottom line, but I try to, is the cost now it's costing the town so a lot of money to keep going. The people that are putting stuff in there that they should be paying to dump now. So one, it ties up the help up there, because now they've got to take it out and take it over and put it in the appropriate place, and we're not collecting any money for it. You can see, I don't know, but I think we've got 2 different things, so it's hundreds of dollars in just those short time frames.
Right.
It's thousands of dollars now, you know.
Right.
The biggest thing, I heard a lot of people say that it keeps stuff out of the landfill. 90% of the stuff that goes out there, the people go in, take it out of the wrapper, take the prize, throw the wrapper on the ground, and leave. We're still throwing out trash. We're still throwing out, maybe not the same volume, but we're still throwing out quite a bit.
Well,
So-
I think when we get to the level of hazardous waste that you've been experienced to, and just the uncaring nature of just putting stuff in there that they were too cheap to pay for, and then we end up paying for it, or the townspeople end up paying for it, I don't think it's right. And I don't think they should be exposed to these types of things that they are exposed to, and it's not their job to babysit. Their job is to take care of the transfer station, not to babysit people going into the store.
You were talking about cost of the town. This is kind of told me from the guys, that most transfer stations, when they start getting into more of this type of stuff, they all go get hepatitis things,
Shots.
you know? The town's gonna have to pay up on that, or insurance, or however we do it. What else is involved with it, I don't know. But that's just more cost on the bottom line.
So,
If, I
Go
guess, I don't know, people.
well, I
guess we'll-
wanted to ask one thing before
Okay,
we
sure,
go that way, if
yeah.
I could. A lot of the feedback that I've heard through some of emails that I received and direct is having volunteers at the store, and I've heard of people that have had that at their locations in other towns and things, where people have been there to volunteer. So immediately I think, okay, they're still on our property, transfer station, they're reporting to somebody because they have to be accountable, and I would assume that volunteers would have to be reportable to you because you're the boss up there and that's your territory. So that volunteers could be there to help accept what's appropriate and direct what isn't appropriate. Would they be able to be firm enough to say, electronics go here and headboards go here? Because you already do that when you see it.
We do.
The other thing is, would a volunteer alleviate you having to clean up what's left in there? And I don't know that volunteers would want to clean like you do.
Correct.
So-
One of the big things is, it would have to be manned 12 to 6 daily. Even loading a truck, when we shut that store down, shut the area down, put cones up and have a tractor trailer in front of it.
Yeah.
People still walk around the truck each way and put their stuff outside of the store.
So even if you posted that it's open 4 hours a day, 3 days a week,
Stuff that they're gonna
Still-
dump their stuff in front of the doors. It's still gonna be a pile of whatnot. And furniture today is made out of
yeah,
particle
board.
board.
Mhm.
Overnight in the dew, it's gone, it's
Mhm.
junk. So that's not gonna go.
It's gonna be trash anyway.
Do you have any solutions besides
If-
closing?
If we decided to have something or anything at all, it should be an open thing, period. And if it's not gonna be watched with volunteers, I think that's the only way you can go.
What do you mean, open? No sides?
No roof, no sides, no, here's a spot, you set it. I mean, picking the stuff up is a pain, but at least it gives us a little more visibility. We have cars back up to the doors. We're inside trying to bail those stuff. We can't see everything. Who knows what's going in? At least maybe all open. We got a chance.
I'm sorry, so people would leave it outside and you put it in the store?
No, no store.
They just don't
Oh,
store
just
it.
Here
an
it is.
area.
Oh, I see,
Here's-
oh, I got you now, I'm sorry.
There's your square area to put it down,
Oh,
and
okay.
there it is.
Bulldozer.
That's the only thing I can see that would be, you know, and nothing against volunteers, but they don't realize how cold it gets up there. Dark, snowy, rainy, everything else.
Well, my concern is what if, and volunteers are wonderful, and it's nice that they want to do that. But my concern would be, along with what you said, Barbara, about what if they get hurt? What if they get something from the dump? What if they get something from the hazardous waste or things of that nature?
What if someone argues with them?
Huh?
What if someone argues with them?
Yeah, what if they get an
That's gonna
argument?
be
They don't
good.
want to put up with that.
Because of
That's
that.
gonna be a given. There's no way around that one. That's gonna be a given. Everything is gold.
Yeah.
We get a lot of chemicals too. So what happens if something like that, a volunteer's in there and that spills, and they're not trained on taking care of that stuff at all? And they get hurt with that. There's a lot more to it than just, I know it doesn't seem that way, but there's a lot to it.
I'm sure there is.
Okay, I would open it up to comments if people have anything to say on issue with the dump store, or anything else at the transfer station, I guess, but yeah, so I have anything to add?
I would be interested in pursuing the option of volunteers, recognizing that there's a lot of risk with it. You know, whether there would be enough volunteers to man it 12 to 6. And that's just when it's open, right? Or you want it 12 to 6 on the days that it's closed?
When we're open, period,
It
it needs to be
manned.
monitored.
Right.
Because people will just pull up and we see it. When we
Oh.
close, we try to close it a half hour early daily so that we've had people sitting in there reading books and we say, we're going home. And this is 10 past 6. I've got one more chapter to go.
It's free,
So-
take it home.
So if we close the doors to prevent that, they just stack it up in the front. It
Right.
doesn't stop.
Right,
So
no, that makes sense to me. I don't know whether there would be enough depth in the ranks to do all the hours, I just don't know. And to me, it almost seems like a lot of times that you would almost need 2 people there would be ideal,
Right.
just to help with arguments and maybe lifting heavy things or, you know, whatever.
It is really a different society that we're in now.
Mhm.
It amazes me that how argumentative people are.
Oh, yes.
It's difficult.
It, for me, like how I was raised, rather, is self-responsibility. Hello, we all pay taxes. Why should I pay for your junk? You know, when you can pay the $50 or $25 yourself. Really makes me angry.
Yeah.
But have you given any thought to having it open 1 or 2 days a week? What's the problem with that
Still
now?
have people
You're
that
still gonna have people dropping stuff.
So they
there.
still, they're just.
They're still gonna just throw it in front of the doors.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's there, they're gonna use it.
Uh,
And that's what it was there for. But we wouldn't have any control over it. You know?
They don't pay attention to signs.
There's a pallet laying against the door. There's the big sign that I wrote that wasn't the nicest thing to write, but it got the point across. There is a pile of stuff that was there this morning, but sometime yesterday, somebody dropped off.
You know what I'd love to do is have like a 2-time-a-year community Bartlett Jackson thrift shop day or something where you could do it, maybe not at the transfer station or maybe at the transfer station where you have volunteers from each town saying, we're gonna have a ski swap or whatever, you know. Everybody knows that they could have a garage sale of their own to get rid of things that are, you know, that are not wanted in their house anymore. Is there a way we could organize something around before and after ski season or something? Leslie?
That's something I hadn't thought of, but I hear what you're going through, and it is appalling, and you shouldn't have to face that. And you're open a lot of hours. In your vein, would it be possible to move that trailer out of the dump, even like on the thing there, and have it open by volunteers, very limited hours? Because it's just too long to do it,
Yeah.
the whole dump hours, but there's somewhere else that would be, you know, for the purpose of recycling and people in need, and I'm cleaning out stuff because I don't want my heirs to have to do it, and all these things I would like to put somewhere, and that shouldn't be thrown in the trash.
That-
But, I mean, would there be another site where you could move the trailer to and have it open just very limited, and that way, I don't think you'd have people driving up from elsewhere and bringing chemicals and stuff like that, because it's kind of
Yeah,
different.
the only thing I could think on that immediately is who owns it, who's responsible for it, and who mans it. So even if you did have volunteers again, there is some liability that one or both of the towns would have to assume with that, or even if you had somewhere in the Bartlett and one in Jackson, you would still have a liability issue of you know, it's open these days or
You're
whatever.
liability walking across the street. I mean, that's not
Absolutely,
scary.
absolutely, but if it's on town property, it's gonna be town liability. I hear you, you know, let's brainstorm and come up with some ideas on how to figure something out, but,
And I got so many responses and emails about,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
for all kinds of reasons that
Yeah.
people wanted it. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm totally sympathetic with you not having to deal with what you've had to deal with, but it would be nice if we could have a facility somewhere, very limited hours, probably not on the dump property.
You would be amazed at how much trash that is gonna generate. that's there.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, people open the package up, take the prize, and throw it. So you'd have to have somebody daily, and we generate at least a pickup truck full, an 8-foot bed, full-size pickup full a day of trash out of there. That's before we get to the bad furniture, the wooden products, the metal products, just trash. So you would have to do that from off-site. That means you're gonna have a town truck, 1, 2 town employees to pick it up, bring it up there.
Is there much stuff of value in general sense?
One man's junk is another man's.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
Depends on how you wanna look at it.
But I want to get your own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't even tell you, I would dare say I'm in the tens of thousands of dishes I've thrown away that people bring in and say, well, they're all good. They don't go away. Silverware, foot knives, forks, kitchenware, pots and pans. I wish I could had a count of how many crock pots I've had with the last meal still in it. I could just add water and plug it in. Is there stuff of value?
Well, I'm trying to justify keeping it open in
I'll
spite of
say-
all these problems.
We've thought about it, we talked about it up there, and we're being very generous with this number. Between 15 and 20% of the stuff that goes in that store gets taken away. Most of the stuff is either gonna be a gag gift, because we hear that a lot, or something that somebody may have been looking for one of these, but that's rare,
Okay.
that's rare.
Anyone else have anything to, yes, about back here?
I just want to say I truly, truly empathize with what these guys, go through. And I'm sure what happened last time was the icing on the cake, so to speak. However, I am one that is willing to volunteer, and I will organize the dump store to whatever. And who says that the dump store has to be open every day? Why can't it just be open one day, 4 hours a day, and have volunteers switch over weekly? And try it that way. He's made some really valid points that I didn't even know before, like all the dishes going in. And nobody takes dishes anymore, but I have benefited myself with just not things that would be nice to have, things that I benefit from and I need. So it's such a fine line, should you not? It's a tough call, but I am willing to volunteer, organize, and the only thing is, he made a good point about people coming up and still putting things outside the door. How about a camera? Even if it's a fake one, or a sign that says, if you leave anything out, I hate to even sound like this, that you will be prosecuted, or it's ridiculous. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but maybe something like that. I don't know. It's just my thought.
Anyone else? Yes, sir?
I just wanted to say that the location is somewhat remote, hidden from the employees at the transfer station. Perhaps locating it in a different area where it would be more visible could be helping to discourage people from leaving things too much. But to pick up on the other thought of one day a week, during the week, and make it available realistically more to the residents of both Bartlett and Jackson, rather than on the weekend when you've got so many other visitors that come to the valley.
Yes, yes.
I know you're still gonna have the issue of people dropping stuff even if the doors are closed.
Yes,
Percent.
and the remoteness of it has actually been really nice where it is.
Yeah.
Not so much that we can see it as easily. We had a lot of accidents up back.
Yeah.
And right now, with that store being closed, we know of at least 20 cars that come up daily. Some people come up with their pickup truck full of trash and drive right through First into the store. That traffic has dropped, unbelievable. They're not speeding through the people that are actually there to get rid of their trash.
Yeah.
that has been very nice to not have to deal with.
And if we were to go with a volunteer basis, which I don't personally recommend, I think we would have to require criminal background checks on all the volunteers, and who's gonna monitor that that's done, and that anyone volunteering does have their, I mean, volunteering at schools now, you have to have a criminal background check. Volunteering anywhere now requires that, so I think that if we were to go there, that would have to be a requirement of any volunteer.
I think that, Sally, just because of the parts of the problem of lack of personal responsibility or bad habits, impulsivity, I don't know what, that having it open, it would have to be open when the dump is open. Otherwise, I think the volunteer piece would be highly likely to fail, because there'd be so many people that would just, I can't wait till next week. I'm here now, I'm getting rid of it, you know. That's what I see.
Now, you had something.
Go ahead, if you want.
I was going to point out that Mr. Chandler brought in a list of all the thrift stores we do have in the area, and this is one thing we could do, as people are saying, but I don't want to throw it away. They could get the list so they knew where they could take it at no cost to them. And these people do monitor what's coming through their door and do refuse certain things. So that's one solution for the people who are disappointed about leaving stuff. It doesn't solve the problem of people who want to take things, but there are plenty of places that are happy to take things that are useful, and quite a few of these, especially the churches, make some money off of it. It's how they generate income.
I give credit where credit is due. All I did was bring it up in Mary County.
Oh, okay.
She's the one that made the list, so.
An extra copy?
Yes, I do. Yeah, take
The
those
one,
with you.
one thing about cameras too is I would love to think a camera might alleviate some people leaving things, but you know, like the folks that bring things in wrapped in blankets or in boxes, you're still really not gonna be able to identify. And even if you do, somebody's still got to review the video camera and things. So it's sort of a, yeah, I wish we had the depth to do something like that. You might not even get license plates or things because they'll say, well, I'm not going to get on camera with that. I'll put my hood on and carry it in. There's so many things that wouldn't make that the best solution, but it would be nice if it would deter a few people. But
So when Don Miller was here,
yeah.
Don and I schemed one day because we found a camera. Had a wire on it.
Yeah.
So I went to the store, screwed it to the wall, drilled a hole in the wall, put the wire in the wall, and someone come in and cut the wire and stole the camera. A non-working camera. So
Wow.
There you
what
go.
do you do there?
Didn't take very long.
I
Oh my
kept
God.
on also. I
How
know.
about a sign-in sheet?
I think, and again, I think people are wonderful if they want to volunteer and try to help the situation. I think it just gives Bob and his crew another responsibility that they have to supervise to make sure that the volunteers don't get hurt or yelled at or overwhelmed with what's going on. And I think they have enough to do up there at this point without having another chore to do, responsibility with the volunteers.
How about a sign-in sheet with itemization of what they're bringing? So they come in, they have whatever they're bringing, it's there, they got their name on it, and they go to, I'm just throwing this out, you
Yeah.
probably already tried
I was gonna say, I
everything.
can't get them to sign the construction sheet where it comes from.
Well, then they don't dump.
Yeah.
We don't let them drop it off unless we have something.
Not to the time constraint, to fill that out and to take it and move around.
No, they're gonna fill it out before.
Yeah.
We want, to say, when you come here and dump something, you gotta tell us what you're dumping
Yeah,
in for the store, and what's your name, and where you come from.
yeah.
And if they don't have that, can't do it. Bring it somewhere else.
Unfortunately, I don't think their honesty will always be in their back pocket when they sign
Well,
their name and address.
Yeah, and it may be somebody else's name, based on what he's running into up there, I can imagine.
Anyone else have anything?
I've
No?
been up there in
Oh,
years.
yes, sir.
Well, this is my wife who's already spoken. I mean, we have seen, a model of this work. It takes aggressive, behavior by the volunteers, to be honest, that's number one. Number two, in the locale where we've seen it work, The dump store is in fact the first thing you encounter as you enter the dump area. And talking to some of the guys at the dump at this place, they feel that the volunteers actually benefit the dump because they're educating the people right out of the gate as to what can go in the dump store, number one, but even what can go in the dump, number two. And so the volunteers are saying, you know, no batteries, no chemicals, no, you know, they're hearing it from somebody outside of the dump before they actually physically are on the dump property. So, you know, I realize there's a lot of problems and a lot of people trying to get away with things, but with proper volunteers, proper understanding, you know, it could conceivably work. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
I came out of curiosity more than anything else. I don't have any strong feeling one way or the other. But just listening to what's been said, I would say that the only way it would work is if you have a dedicated employee, and it might help if you carried a gun. And so, with no bullets, just carry the gun. But a dedicated employee would know everything that needs to be said. Bob has said signs don't work, and they don't. And so that's an additional expense to the town, and that's what you have to weigh. And whether that could be offset by, I think in the beginning you talked about money lost because people are dropping off stuff that they should be paying for. Would there be some offset? You talked about up to thousands of dollars, Gene?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there'd be any offset for an additional employee to be a dedicated person 6 hours, all hours that the dump is open. It's a service to a few people in the town. There's a lot of people that just go in and wander through, and they might pick up a broom or a rake or something like that, which is really handy. But some people are regular, and as you say, benefits you, right?
Yes.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
They
if
are
it's too
understaffed.
expensive,
They're understaffed right now, though, so that before that they would hire someone to do that, which I don't think is a bad idea. You still need a weekend person, right? You're short on, they're working harder because they're understaffed, and I couldn't see hiring someone just to do the dump store while they remain understaffed.
Help is a bit of a problem. I mean, right now, it's
Yeah.
not too bad, but we are short.
Here this weekend.
We are, no, I don't know, let me finish. We are short a weekend person with us, so, but anyway.
To the gentleman who had the model worked in another facility, I'd be really interested to know if it was the same kind of area as this area, where we have so many transient people coming in. Their way of life is a whole different way of throwing out trash. They're single stream, everything goes here, and they can, I don't want to say do what they want, but it's a whole different system. And when they get here to our facility, they're just lost. And we have a lot of things get put where they don't belong. Would that be an issue? I don't know. But I'd be interested to know what kind of area that was working, because I do know that it does work in other places, but it's the town and that's it. It's not the transient crowds that come through.
There's transient crowds there.
Yeah. You know, and it's not their fault. We have different rules, so you can't expect them to be here one time in their life and follow the rule exactly. But I think that would be a problem with our location that we have.
Martha's Vineyard, with, they call it the boutique, is that what
The dump team.
Yeah, the dump teeth. I'd like to, you know, we're not gonna solve the world's problems today. I'd
Not
like
what?
to, not today, Gene. It's not gonna solve the world's problems today.
I'm pretty disappointed with
I
that.
wasn't on the agenda. But I think it would be very interesting if, like you said, you would be willing to say, I'm gonna gather volunteers, because if you have 30 hours a week, right? 30 hours, open hours, you might need shoulder hours, but if you said you have 35 hours a week and you need at least 2 volunteers each day, and came with a plan that said, this is what our thoughts are, as we have, this many volunteers that are all shift related and they know when they're going to be there. Here is our plan, and present that. I would love to know what that is and hear it working versus saying, we want this, because I hear the passion. We want it open. We really want it to be open. But if Bob says, well, volunteering is a wonderful thing, but we're already short-staffed, so I can't even think of the fact that I have to train volunteers now. But if we had some kind of a plan, then I would write something up too that said, this is the rules on what goes where. This is how you're going to train and manage your volunteers. Who's going to own that function? I would love to hear a presented sort of a business plan to reopen the store and see how it works. And it doesn't have to be written in stone, but it's got to be managed overall by the manager of the transfer station. And I'd love to see something like that presented that says, we will commit ourselves to doing that, and we have the staff. Would that be something you'd be interested in hearing in 30 days or 15 days? Or?
I mean, we as workers have kicked around the idea of one of us spend an hour over there, rotate that.
Yeah.
But
you don't have
it shortchanges what we're actually there for.
Right.
What we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And I think that I would love to hear a business proposal that says we can make this viable, and we're strong. Like you mentioned, you have to be strong. You have to tell the people you're not bringing that in here. And if you're going to own that and it works, we could give it a try if it works and see how it goes. Because I do know there is value, and we've dropped things off there and picked up things from there. So my husband got a big Cubs poster. He was thrilled. He thought he was going to cry.
I think the big thing with the volunteerism thing is, where is it going to be 6 months to a year?
Yep. And it's,
especially after going through the winter.
I know, but you know what? That's what I want. I mean, I think we sort of owe it to the people that are very passionate about this to see how they're going to help you.
So if we give people 30 days to, or roughly, I don't know,
Yeah.
for after the 1st of December or something,
Yeah.
to come up with a proposal, what they think is. Someone willing to undertake that? That's, I guess if there's no one willing to take charge of doing it.
And your name is
Mary Jo. Mary Jo.
Mary Jo.
And it's not Kopechne.
No.
Anybody
Wouldn't be.
Oh, of a certain age, yes, we remember.
Okay. Well, and
So
then
I think that's what we would,
maybe entertain that first.
and let them come up with have a group meeting, wherever they want to do it, I don't know, then you can probably advertise it on your thing, that they're gonna get together and come up with a proposal, Ron.
I would suggest that until we do that, and we come up with some kind of business plan, we could keep it closed. They don't need the extra hassle until we come up with a program.
Yep, unfortunately, but fortunately, we have communication. We have the Jackson Bridge. I would love to talk about doing a town ski swap or something like that. If we, in the meantime, if we don't have other resources, we have community, so.
I send people down to the Eastern Slope Ski School.
Absolutely.
Skis, and then when they can't sell them, they sell them to carpenters or whatever, they're making the chairs and stuff with. So everything's moving on, and there are other options to send the stuff to.
Yep. And then you can post this at the store in the meantime, and.
Yeah, have it as a handout.
Yeah. But Leslie?
It's a little bit off subject, but I know Bartlett's not as familiar with it, but Jackson News goes to a lot of people.
A lot.
And we don't get items, from the transfer station, but it would be good to have articles about some of the stuff that you can do and you can't do, and just, whatever you want to say. But
well, also we can link to the town websites that say, this is the transfer station website with the rules, but.
Yeah, but I think more people kind of get e-news and go to the website.
Yep.
But, it's a service that's certainly available to say whatever you want to say.
That,
and
between that and the bridge.
Even explain the recycling thing, and, you explained to me one day, you showed me a bottle, and I would have thought it was number 1, but it didn't have a number on it.
Right.
Just stuff like that.
There was also the presentation that Bob did at the Whitney Center about recycling that was really well attended.
But stuff like that can go out in e-news, and just try to educate the
And that's a
people.
whole nother subject.
Well, I
we
was
discussed.
gonna say, Bob, you sent me a great article about that little triangle on the back,
Yeah.
on the bottom of bottles, which was totally promoted by the people producing the product, because it would lead the people to believe this is recyclable even when it's not. And they are moving, we are beginning to move away from that little recycling triangle on the bottom of things because it's useless information. And again, it makes us all feel good about our overconsumption because, oh, I can recycle it when in fact you can't. And it wasn't put there by the green folks, it was put there by the folks who are making money on selling the products.
So we'll await, whoever wants to organize this, or whoever's gonna be in charge, it's up to you to get together and have a committee and get together a report or a,
And, yeah, Mary
Solution,
Jo, if you're gonna have that
ideas.
up, just get back to me when you have some traction and use whatever resources in town here. And then, is there someone in the town of Bartlett that can, like our e-news on our Jackson Bridge, our, how many people get the news here? Is there anywhere in
It
Bartlett
would
to
be
use?
Gail Pirelli for the Bartlett Town Column, in the Connolly Daily Sun. And so I'm not quite sure what her email address is.
Is that good, Mary Jo, to get
I'm sorry.
the Bartlett Town Column that's in the Conway Daily Sun?
Okay,
Gail
Pirelli.
Pirelli is the one that takes care of sort of Bartlett's communication.
okay.
So you can probably contact her and she can figure out how to get information out across Bartlett for
Perfect.
volunteers.
And then I can get phone numbers and people and start calling, or
That's up to you. It's in your hands and
I can get a
then,
list of people,
mhm.
of volunteers that have already, put
And then
forth.
I think from my end, I'll look at what liability issues would be to have volunteers on town property. Because if we're required to have any additional insurance, health risks, that kind of thing, a waiver that volunteers sign or something like that, I can look into that end.
How about volunteers at the library or the historical society? I mean, that's all town.
Yep,
property.
I don't know what it's done now, so it'll be a great example, and we may learn a lot more than we knew before.
And I just want to stress that in my belief, no matter what plan we come up with, it can't add more work to
Right.
these folks here who are understaffed.
Hopefully it'll help.
On some of the, I don't want to say oddball stuff, so to speak, things that aren't your average dishes or something that's really unique and whatnot, don't be afraid to ask us up there. We may know somebody that will take
In
something.
the meantime, yeah.
You know, we're not opposed to answering that, but your everyday run-of-the-mill stuff, what it is, it's run-of-the-mill stuff.
Well, you
Okay.
could take those BB guns and have a shooting practice and pay all the glassware that you get.
What you think we know?
okay, that settles the, well, settles, but
Yeah.
at least that's
Well, thank you for,
discussion of the dump store anyway. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that we need to discuss on this? I guess just while we're here, and you don't have to say now, but I don't know whether you had any thoughts on anything to upcoming expenses for next year that we need to plan for, but you need to get that ready.
Yep, there is one that I'm looking at right now that, we just got rid of the metal pile. I want to see where that stands. I'd like to extend that concrete wall, maybe a pad up top, and a little more concrete at the bottom, just to make getting rid of metal a lot easier, place to put it, and I can load the dumpsters that they'll drop for us. It's hard now to reach up and over, it can be done, but it's, like Jeff was afraid to do it. You can bump a hose and knock it off.
Well, should we give an estimate for that?
Yeah, I went to one concrete guy last year, and I'm still waiting to hear from him.
And he's ready now.
Yeah, no, he's building a garage in the backyard of the town hall. So he's gonna be busy there. I don't know, is Firm Foundation still in business?
Yeah.
I don't see him very often, so.
Yeah, if we can just give it, we need a number to put in the
Yep.
town, if we decide to do it, but we need a number.
Yeah.
We even decide, that's all.
Yeah.
I saw that you did quite a job in the metal pile up there. How long did it take to get to the giant pile that is now gone?
Too long, that was.
I mean,
10 months.
That was almost a year's worth of.
Wow.
But presumably that's not gonna happen again, right?
Well, what we look at, we're kind of watching how much it grew. They have a portable baler, and what they want to do is, next time around, that we get not that big, get large size, is bale it,
Who's they?
Rickers. And then we will store those bales until they get enough to be in a road for a truck to go away. That's kind of the plan. They're in the same boat as everybody else, no help.
Yeah,
Can he get that recorded?
no,
You can't.
excuse me. Do you guys
Could you
mind,
just
where he's
double-
recording the meeting, so if you guys don't mind on the, over on the side,
Just
thanks.
go ahead outside and talk.
Yeah,
Oh, stay there.
or you can stay for the rest of the meeting, that's fine.
Actually, I gotta go babysit a couple of twins,
There you
so.
go. Well, thank you both for coming, thank you, Mary Jo.
Thank you so much, and your name is?
Barb Campbell.
Thank you, and Bob, I'll be seeing you this week sometime. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
I had Schneitzer come up and take their container away with cans in it, and got to talk to the guy today, and he says they're losing a lot of their customers, transfer stations and whatnot, simply because of what we went through before. They were charging us $800 to drive up our driveway, literally. They go to Berlin every day, when that truck goes back to Essex, Mass, I guess it is, whatever, Everett, Mass. They go by empty. They charged us from that gate to the top of the hill and back up $800. So that's why I made the switch to Rickers. And even if we don't get paid for the metal, it's not costing us.
That's crazy.
I know, it's a commodity, it's something that,
I don't understand that.
so that's where we stand with that stuff.
Thank you.
Sorry, I choke on my own words.
Maybe that helped, we'd have to talk and go from one spot to the next. I don't think
My
so.
mother would say, this is as fun as you do.
Next time, stand up and wave your arms. All right, very good, so, okay, yeah, get us an estimate on the concrete stuff.
And I just about got the, hopefully now permanent mount for the snowplow for the skid steer done.
Okay.
After experimenting with the other device, and it worked well, and the machine works well, I now have gone to look at that plate, weld that back together, and
So just finishing up on the metal, we shouldn't have, hopefully this won't accumulate so much again, right?
we're gonna let it, it depends on help. I mean, that was the biggest reason it went as far as it did. They were in the same boat.
Okay.
They don't have anybody to drive a truck, they're gonna come up.
So when will Ricker bring the compactor? Will he do that? if
When we
ask
get
him?
enough.
Oh, okay.
So right now, they're not doing it today, but I think they're gonna drop me another 40-yard container tomorrow, and we're gonna try to keep it loaded, and they're gonna keep trying to haul it off, so we actually don't get any metal there. But if it does happen again, at least we know what we can do.
And where does Roger fit in?
Same thing, nothing's gonna be put away until he's come in, done his
Okay.
thing, and he's not happy with it. He was very upset with the Rickers coming in. George told him, he says, I can't have you standing here when I'm loading a truck.
Alright.
You can do whatever you want when the machine is shut off. And Roger didn't like that at all. But, and I told him, any time of the day you come in, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
But he didn't, never saw him for the whole week. No.
Okay. Anything else at the transfer station we need to talk about? We are still looking for someone for weekends.
Yeah. What are the hours, just the typical regular hours, or
The
do you
new
need?
ones,
Yeah, the
yeah.
till 4.
10 to 4, yeah.
But do you advertise it as 10 to 4, or do you do, like, knowing that you guys don't go home at 4:01?
Well, actually, we're there 8 to 4.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we're generally out of there by 4:05.
Okay.
That nice sign that we have now that says, please arrive 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
When they're yelling at me at the gate that you can't be closing, and
Yes, I can.
and we try to work with that, but there was one guy that came in and he's now playing games with us, coming in early, but staying late. And he was yelling and screaming that he should be allowed, he's only got 3 bags. Trouble was, there's 4 cars behind him.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't have been out of there till 4:30, 5 o'clock.
People so disrespectful.
It's a new world, it's not the same.
I've been yelled at up there.
You've been yelled at up there, you said?
I didn't get into the whole thing about the store too, there's things that we've seen.
I'm entitled.
We had 2 women angry, I thought it was gonna go to fist fight. And then they
Really?
got their cameras out filming each other, and look at what they got. And then Columbus Day weekend, that Monday, I'm trying to close the place up, it's time to get out of there.
Yeah.
And people are grabbing stuff and throwing it out in the yard in piles, and they're yelling, "That's my pile, keep away from it." It was just,
Oh
my
goodness.
gosh.
this has been building, I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing is just, it was the last final straw, something needs to be,
Yeah,
because it's gonna change, something's gonna happen.
right. Listen, and again, this is still on the meeting here, unless a plan is pretty much flawless on what they're gonna present, and it has to be approved by you along with us, it's not gonna happen. Conway had to shut theirs and everything, but I don't mind trying if it sounds like it's a viable plan and giving a 30-day trial to something that sounds good, but if one thing happens or whatever, and whatever waivers we need to get
Yeah.
signed for, or interviewing people, it's not gonna happen where it takes extra time for you, so.
I mean, we're not opposed to directing people that, hey, I think so-and-so might take this, or so-and-so might take it
Yeah.
here. The people that have bought the Scarecrow Pub, he
Yeah.
had all the dishes from there.
Wow.
And he came up, I can't remember my days all in
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
but he came up with them and, we're closed. He says, what do I do? We told him the way station, just as a
Yes,
thought. You know what? They
absolutely.
took everyone,
Great,
they took every bit of it.
yeah,
So there's options.
yes,
Yep.
great,
And that's stuff that when they take it, it's going somewhere.
yes.
Right,
It's not going in the trash, it's
No.
going somewhere.
yep.
I'm gonna also reach out to Gail Doctor, who's very involved in the way station anyway, and just tell her, make sure she's aware that the dump store is closed, and then see if she needs anything specific that you can
Yep, we'll pull
direct
it
that
set
way
aside.
too. Yeah,
No problem with that at all.
okay.
It's just all the other stuff that's been built.
And then on the website for the transfer station, is there a list of what you do and don't take, and what costs money and what you have to put where? How do I
It
get
should
that?
be.
Okay, I'll look, and if
Yeah,
if
no,
I don't
that's
find what I
fine.
need, then I'll.
Because when I
I'll-
wrote something for the town column, I got it right up.
And
Okay.
Basically, our receipts that we fill out are, although
Oh,
there's no
that's right,
prices
that
on it,
has
but I
to-
could
that
just
has
write
to-
them all in and.
Yeah, okay,
Okay, anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Brian. Brian.